Hello, welcome to Great Beginnings. My name is Aisha, and I'll be talking to you about learning strategies. What will you learn today? So, you will understand the role of a learning strategist. You will establish at least one or two ways a learning strategist can be assistance to you, and you will identify tools to stay on track when school begins. The learning strategists here at George Brown include Peter Gay, Rachel, Joanna, and myself, Aisha. What will you learn with the learning strategist? So, what can we help you with? So, we can help you foster and develop skills and learning strategies in time management, study strategies, note taking, reading strategies, writing, research skills, group work, presentations, and exam preparation. We can also help you with obtaining and understanding your psychoeducational assessment. What learning strategists cannot do? So we can't give you essay or research topics. We can't write your assignments or papers for you. We can't find research articles for you. We're unable to ask professors for extensions. We can't explain to your professor why you've missed a class. We're not doing counseling with you. We don't tutor in content areas. We're not guaranteeing you get an A. And we're not staying longer than the allotted time. So, a quick question: where do you feel you need the most support? So I want you to think about the top three areas that you feel you need the most support. So based on the items that I discussed earlier, is it time management? Is it study strategies? Is it with presentations? Take a few seconds to think about that. What should you expect during a learning strategy appointment? So of course you'll get a warm greeting. And just to let you know, your learning strategist most likely knows about your academic background, current programming, and accommodations. Your LS already knows why you've been referred, so even if you forget, you'll be reminded. Your sessions will last between 30 minutes to an hour. You and your learning strategist will work on your things that you have due and things you need more help understanding. And you can also book your next session through the learning strategist or with the front desk staff. Time management. So here's some keys to time management. You want to think about planning. You want to book some time for time management. Some students, Sunday morning, that's their time to kind of plan and organizing their next few weeks. You want to prioritize. What things do you need to do immediately, right away? What are your short term? What are your long term goals? So you want to think about that as well. Also, flexibility and breaks. So you want to make sure you build breaks into your study time. You want to set time aside for personal commitments and activities. And I want you to also remember life happens. So sometimes things happen unexpectedly. So don't beat yourself up too much. Take some time, plan and organize around those things. So the rule of thumb, the power of three. You want to think about how you're organizing your time. So you want to match your study hours to your classroom hours. So for example, if you have 3 hours of class, you want to study for at least 3 hours for that class to stay on top of your work. So how will you do that? You want to review your notes to make them clear. You want to add any information you've missed. You may take an hour for that. You want to break up some time to work on your assignments and you realize, you know what, I need an hour to do that. So you want to complete your readings, you want to make notes, and you take another hour to do that. So you can see here that the student has about 3 hours of work here to complete. So the idea is that you don't want to study for 3 hours straight. Your 3 hours can be split up throughout your week, and your learning strategist can help you with that. So how you manage your time. So there's three areas that I wanted to talk about is the semester schedule, the weekly planner, and the daily to-do list. So the role of the semester schedule is to see your schedule, your semester schedule at advance. You want to see your schedule at advance, and the task in there is that it breaks up your projects, assignments, and tests and exams. We'll talk about that next. There's also the weekly planner. So the weekly planner allows you to plan activities such as your reading, homework. You're able to chunk some of those projects, those long-term projects, organize your meetings. So you can do that with a weekly planner. So you want to do your high priority tasks when you're most alert and motivated to work. There's also the daily to-do list. This is very helpful and it helps you prioritize your activities for the day. So you often will have to check your semester schedule and your weekly planner to kind of develop that to-do list. So here's a course outline. So some students, have difficulty understanding the course outline, but I want to take a minute just to get you a little oriented with it. So you can see on the left-hand side that the course is broken up into various units. So right here, we're seeing unit 1 to 8. Right beside that, you see the tasks. So what is going to be happening in that class? So the teacher is going to be talking about the shape of science and how to find a scientific paper. So what are the exercises or the activities that are going to make up that class? So you're going to identify your own field work. You're going to identify a position on a science map. You're going to find an example paper. And as you see in the fourth column, you can see the schedule and you can see what week you'll be doing each activity. So I want you to think about, making sure you look over your course outline and become very familiar with it because that is the roadmap to your semester. Here's a semester schedule. So oftentimes I met with students and we develop our semester schedule for the semester. So what you can see here in the top portion of the chart, you can see that the student has broken up each of their classes. So you can see they have English, computer, psychology, child development, health and safety, math, and biology. And if you look on the left-hand column, you can see each week. So the student has here week 1, September 2 to 6, week 2, September 9th to 13th. So each week is broken up. So then within each class, the students has looked at the course outline and has identified what assignments or activities are due by which date. So you can see here for English, the student has a quiz where 10% week 2, which is September 9th to 13th. They have an assignment due, assignment 1, which is with 10% week 3. In child development, in math, there's a quiz in week 2. So this really keeps the student organized and lets them see their schedule at a glance. So calendars. So there's various different types of calendars. So you have your wall calendar. So sometimes people put it up in the room or on the fridge. There's the agenda, which keeps track of daily activities, weekly activities that the student may have. There's a semester calendar. So often you would take information from your semester's calendar and fill it into your agenda or your wall calendar. There's also the Google Calendar. So if you're more interested in using online tools, you have the online Google Calendar that can keep you on track. So a daily to-do list. So you have your daily checklist. So you're going to use your agenda to make a daily checklist of various items you have to do for that day. And as you get through your day, you're going to check off as you go along. You can also use a smartphone. So there's various different apps to help keep on track of assignments and things you have to do during the day. So use your smartphone as well if that's the best fit for you. So you're going to have to figure out what's the best way. Some students like to write things down, and some students like to use smartphone and technology. So think about what works best for you. Studying. So what's the best time? I want you to think about a time when you are the most productive, can focus and concentrate a lot better, have the most energy, have the least distractions. So you want to schedule your most difficult and most challenging activities during your best time. Some of you may have children, so you may think of, when is their downtime? Some of you have work. So you want to think about how your day is and what's the best time for you. So when's your best time? I want you to think about that. Are you a morning person? Are you an afternoon person? Are you an evening person or are you a night person? I tend to be more of an evening night person. That's the time where I'm most productive. So I want you to take a few seconds and I want you to think about when is your best time? So the curve of forgetting. Have you heard of the curve of forgetting before? So the idea is that, say, for example, you went to your lecture and sometimes you're thinking, oh, I'll study or look over my notes maybe 3 or 4 days after the lecture. But the idea with the curve of forgetting is if you don't review what you've learned within 24 hours, you'll forget at least 50 to 80% of it. So the idea is that the closer you review your notes to when you've learned it, the more likely you are to remember. So I want you to think about organizing your time where you review notes within that 24 hours of a lecture so you're least likely to forget the information. So organize that into your time so you most likely won't forget that information you've learned. Take notes as you read. So as you're reading, and I mean, the learning strategist can help you with some amazing strategies, but there's, you can highlight things, you can put code words, you can put some examples. So you want to make sure that you're taking time to take notes as you read. And students often have their little code words that they use for example, or for helping them to, write their notes a bit more quicker. So if you need some strategies around that, the learning strategist can support you in developing those notes. But you can, you use your highlighter, use different colors, things that will stand out to you so you can, when you're flipping through your notes, you can see them a lot quicker. How to facilitate the learning process. So the idea is that you want to review your notes every evening or set a time. You want to answer questions. So maybe there's at the end of the unit, there's some questions to answer. Answer those questions and make use of waiting time. So say you're at an appointment, take advantage of that time to look over some of your notes quickly. Quizlet is a great tool for helping you review some of your notes. So you can make your cue cards. You can there's little quizzes that you can do from the cue cards you've made. There's also other cue cards other students have made, and you can use those as well. So it's a really great tool. Go to Quizlet, take a look, and keep on track of that. What should you do before class? So you want to do your assigned readings. So in the course outline, the teacher often puts in what readings are for that week. So really keep on track with that. Review previous class notes and look at what is due this week. So you have your semester schedule, you have your to-do list. So you want to have an idea of what's due this week and color code to help you stay organized. So that often helps students as well. What should you do during class? So you want to sit where there's the least distraction. So if you're sitting at the back with your friend, you're going to be more likely to talk or be on your phone or look out the window. So you want to sit where there's at least the least distraction. So that may be the front of the class. So that may be the best spot for you. You want to focus your attention and listen to the professor. You want to take notes on main ideas. And you want to ask questions when something seems unclear. Sometimes you may feel too nervous to do that in front of the class. Maybe right after the class, you can have a quick conversation with the teacher and ask those questions. What should you do after class? So you want to reread your notes. So remember that curve of forgetting, you don't want to get caught in that. Change your key ideas into questions. So sometimes in the textbook, not sometimes, but in the textbook, there are headings. So you want to change those headings into questions, and that will help you facilitate your learning. You want to study that in a way that makes sense to you. So you can use mind maps or flashcards. So those are some tools that can help. How do I break tasks up? So you're probably wondering, oh boy, I have so much to do. How can I break these tasks up? So this is the planning blocks of time worksheet that I often use with students. So in the left column, you see the date and total hours available. So on September 5th, this student was thinking, after classes, after work, after, taking care of the kids, I have about 2 hours for schoolwork, right? So with the next column, you see the homework and study tasks. So you can see here that the student was thinking, okay, let me think about some study tasks that I have, right? I'm going to prioritize here. So I need to read chapter 1.1 for biology, and I also need to complete questions 1 and 2 for English. So the time for each task, if you see in the third column, this student needed 1.5 hours just to kind of get through chapter 1.1. And you can see that the student is taking 0.5 hours, so about 30 minutes to complete questions 1 and 2 for English. So this is a great way to help break tasks up. So now that you've been with me for about 15 minutes, I want you to think about some of the areas you're going to start, some things you're going to stop, and some things you're going to continue to do. So I want you to take a moment to do that. Think about what you're going to start to do, what you're going to stop, and what you're going to continue. One last thing. Working with a learning strategist on a regular basis will help you become a successful student. So we can help you develop good habits, whether it's study strategies, note taking, whatever it is, we can help you support your learning. And we just want to thank you so much for listening to us today. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to the Accessible Learning Services and set up a time with the learning strategist to answer some of those questions you may have. Thank you so much, and we look forward to supporting you in this year.